Take one, take two,
Two, take
Yeah.
three,
action.
action.
Nice. So, to everybody watching this at home, this is another episode. And in today's episode, we're basically going to be talking about, let me take this guy off. Getting your first experience as a designer, what it means, how to find a way around the whole hurdle of meeting your team leads and making sure you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. The fear of not doing enough, the fear of doing too much, all of that. Today we have Vectorchi, Victoria. Victoria has been on the show before. So if you want to learn more about Victoria and her whole journey, the whole situation, the whole gist, you can check the previous video about importance of being a community member and all of that. Today, we have a new guest, which is Vectorchi. He has not been on the show before. So thank you guys for coming. So before we get started, we have this thing where we do. Victoria already knows it. But don't worry, I'm not going to give you an shirt. Now we have
What's
this
happening
thing.
though?
It's a quiz. It's a quiz we ask people.
Don't scare
Right.
me. Don't scare me.
Don't worry, don't be
Okay.
scared. It's a very simple quiz. So now, Vectorchi, what is a JPEG file? Don't Google it. Don't tell me the answer now. Don't let anybody else around you Google it. A JPEG file, like the full meaning. A JPEG is an actual word. It's an acronym for something. What's the full word itself? You don't need to answer now.
I read.
Okay.
I read this thing actually.
Okay. Yeah. It's like those time in exam hall where you're looking at the math question, I'm like, oh more. I mean, see this thing for exam. You don't need to answer now. You can answer at the end of the call. That's the beauty of it. It's at the end of the call we'll know if you really know the answer or not. No Google anybody where Damien really don't help you Google
If I don't know it now, how will I know it? I think something like either electronic graphics at the end. That JP.
Now you know.
This is a setup. This is a
it's not set up. It happens to everybody. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. At the end of the call, you tell us the answer and you get a shirt. You get a, Shift A shirt, or you get this shirt, swag. The swag is really nice. Victoria has one.
That
is not fair.
For me. I don't have it again.
It's not me, it's not my fault. So let's get started.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Adim Chioka. My community name is Vectorchi. I'm a product designer I started out as a brand designer first for a very, very short period. I did small logos or small graphics. Then before I delved into like UI UX, then full product design. Product designer currently cruising in career wise, basically, and
Good.
yeah.
Good win.
Favorite resource I use for learning. It has to be YouTube, definitely now. For learning and then for working, probably it's going to be, of course, the grandfather Figma itself. And it's because it's very flexible. I fell in love. Figma definitely. It was Illustrator before, where I think that's where I founded the name. Okay, I can give the history of Vectorchi now. So vectors generally were like intriguing to me when I started using Illustrator, and I figured that it was just amazing how you could use just random dots and then they all build up to something that is probably undestructible. Like you can scrap a vector, you can zoom in on it, it doesn't pixelate, you can. So I was like, what is this stuff? So to me, vectors are like the building blocks of any product. Of course, you can say pixels and all, and down to buttons, but vectors are like the basic units of design life for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chi is just from adding Chi itself. So it just sprung up somewhere during Zuri, and I'm like, this seems cool. And I used it. So that's just quick run. But yeah, Adobe Illustrator, if I had to name my 3 tools I leave open: Illustrator, Figma, YouTube. Definitely.
So my nickname is MsVick. That is MsVick, not MISSVIC or not MISSVICK. No, it's MSVICK. There's a story behind it because it's not me that gave myself the nickname. It was a friend, my roommate back in school. She loved how I carry myself. and she loved how matured I was at different situations. And so she just grew fond of calling me Miss Vic. And so when I started out Zuri, actually when I started the business and I was thinking of a name to give my skincare business, I gave it Miss Vic. And so when I started out with Zuri, I also thought, well, I can also my username should be Miss Vic. So that's how that came about. So my full name is Victoria Ali Johnson. So you can get, obviously, my name is Victoria. So Vic is where that came from.
Yeah.
And what kind of designer am I? I'm a product designer. I don't know how to think about it. I think about it.
You don't
I
forget.
started out that as I started as someone that was not even sure what I was doing. Actually, I knew that I loved to draw, I loved to design, I loved to paint. So I was trying out many things. So I dabbled into brand design for a bit. I did 2 jobs in packaging design, which was looking back, I was like, what the hell was I doing? That was like packaging design, and this was like during the lockdown period. I also started learning a lot more about UX, that's user experience design. I initially thought that, okay, my area of strength is research. And so I really wanted to focus on the UX and just be a UX designer. But then I've been so immersed into the business side of design and product management. And so I felt finding a balance, maybe finding a middle ground would just help me flex my muscles whenever I feel like I can do UX, I can
Yeah.
do UI, you get. So
Mhm.
I started to call myself a product designer, right? So that's that.
Vectorchi, give us that brief intro about you becoming a designer and you getting into where you are now. If your current job, because you said you're catching cruise in career wise, if your current job at career wise was your first opportunity, was not your first, and just a brief about that.
Okay. How I got into design. Yeah, I saw one very funny video of a woman just walking, and then she was just passing, like car was coming out, and then a car park lot. I don't know if you know this car park lot stuff in America where you have your lots beside your house. And then the shelf just she was just walking randomly and the shelf just closed her into the house. The house that was not her own, and she was like looking around that basically. So I saw the caption, I was like, how I got into design. You're just walking and then it just pushed you. So, but yeah, I always, regardless of what I was doing, I think I started out as a biochemist, and my goal was just to create impact with like whatever I can, whatever way I can. And then I stumbled upon like design, and design wasn't at first it just felt like logo, just adding values probably to the company. But I was looking for broader ways to touch people, impact the way they live, and impact stuff. So and then saw product design. I think a friend called me. I was like, guy, there's this stuff over there, like beginning probably 2019. I was like, there's this product design stuff that I can. And I was like, nah. I was thinking on Instagram, I was ignoring that. Nope, I don't think this is not what I want to do. But then I tried and I realized that yeah, this affects this drives better life for people. This influence people's life definitely. And then I decided to try it out and I started building, got internships, started Zuri, had a change, and then Carol White came. It's also a very funny way I got in because there was a task. Sorry, I have to speak through this. There was a task, and yeah, I attempted the task. They did not set a timeline for it, so I just attempted and I submitted. I gave myself 2 days to complete the whiteboarding. So, and then I came to submit, and I realized the application has closed, and I was like, nah, no way. So, and then I started to reach out to as much guys as I could. I reached out to the head lead designers and all. And it was even on Twitter. I just said that, hi, my name is Anji. I saw the application. And when I was done, I realized that, oh, more, this thing has closed though. Okay, this is my link. I don't know if you can give it a look. I don't mind. I wanted to just submit it that let's just be off because I put too much effort for it to just be my draft. So I sent and I was like, okay, he opened the application again for me to submit and closed it after I was done. And then so that I was moved to the next stage. And yeah, I had a chat with him, really chill guy. He's a really, really chill guy. And yeah, he spoke. And then the second issue was that Carry Wise was in Lagos and I was in Gombe serving. And we're like, okay, we are not sure we can proceed. But Faye was like, nah, this guy must like stay with us and all. And they waited till when I was done before I came. So it's
Ah,
been a
that
surreal
warms my heart to see.
yeah, it's been quite surreal and it's been yeah, I would say God's blessing. But yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah, that's how I got in.
I have a couple of questions. So you tell me, was that like your first working experience? Gone, gone, gone.
Okay. Yeah, mostly it was, but most times I work like remotely, sometimes side gigs, like contract jobs majorly. Like I was so in love with contracts. Don't stress me. I just do what I need to do. And yeah, I get what you need, and then I just work that way. And one was a digital agency that wanted to employ full time. They were also waiting for me to get back, although I was working remotely for them. But then some things collapsed, and I realized they were not so I can't mention it. I realized they were not so straightforward with our agreement, and then I had to call quit. So that's been I've not had so much of a serious work experience before career wise. Most of it just been contract and remote working, not necessarily with major parts of the team and all. But yeah,
Now
that's been
that's
like
interesting because I have this question here that I have written down, and it's more like defining what exactly is a job experience. So now you've had your situation with Carol Wise, and we've had your situation with working with contracts. It'll be interesting to know what exactly is a job experience. Now, for this question, I want Victoria to go on. And Victoria, now tell us, how many companies have you worked for in this short span of your career? And how did you get into your first working, quote unquote, working experience? But I yet to define it. So
I love the question. Okay, let's just start from the point where I dabbled into brand design. So I had two clients there, but not companies. Okay, one was a company, the other was an individual. And then when I was done with the job for them, they wanted me to like come into a contract agreement, but for a lower fee. So I said no. So I didn't move on with them. So when I started outside Zurich, my first offer came through a mentor. He saw my engagement. I think I was answering someone's question in the random channel, and then he entered my DM and asked me to show him what I've been doing so far during the Zurich project with him. I think it was a redesign of his Ingressive for Good website. And then he was like, okay, he thinks that he would want to introduce me to a couple of people that are looking for like a designer, and he feels like I have potential, yada, yada, yada. So I took in the first contract job, which lasted for like 2 months. So I worked with the developer, I worked with the product owner, I worked with the accountant on the team, I worked with the legal consultant of the team. So that was like my first ever job as a UI UX designer, and was my biggest pay ever. The job paid me 800,000 naira. And after that, after that, the same person. So I think I want to place emphasis on how we relate, how we connect, or the common word, how we network at every opportunity that we get into. So it will have been normal for me to just do my job and move on, right, from this guy, and just be so bent on getting a full-time job, because I was applying for jobs. I wasn't even getting to interviews. But then this one thing that I have, I was intentional about the relationship, like the work relationship. And so I learned that it was important I build a network of developers that see my work, they've worked to me, and they can refer me to jobs, whether it's short time, whether it's freelance, whether it's full-time roles. So that's what I put in so much intentionality in doing. So this same client, after I was done with his work, reached out to the developer that, hey, that designer that worked on this project, would like to have her on another project. And that's how it went on and on and on and on until I got a consultancy, like a contract job. It's actually a contract job with Dragnet Solutions. So that was like my first big clientele, you get. And with Dragnet now, I have actually gone through 3 different projects with them already. So they wanted to employ me on a full-time basis, but then the pay was not something that I was going to be comfortable with. It was not something that they too can afford. And so we had to reach a compromise. And then we agreed that I work on a project basis. And since they have a lot of products, it made sense for me, not for them. It made sense for me. Because apparently I was running away from the arrangement of being the only designer. I mean, being the only designer with a company that has more than 10 products, you just kill yourself. So I accepted that arrangement that, okay, I would rather work on a project basis. And more so because this client that connected me with Dragnet Solution advised that I do so. So if for him to be able to get to that space of giving me advice about about arrangements that would benefit me, it also shows the level of intentionality that was already going on, in that work relationship. And it didn't stop there. That same client has introduced me to other companies after that. Now, the only job that I got, as per say I applied, not based on referral, that I applied for and I got through the interview, and it was a full-time job. It's the same job that was my most toxic experience as a product designer ever. I am happy that I experienced this early. I'm happy I experienced it early because it made me to realize the difference, how to spot the difference you get between the ideal work environment that works for you and the one that doesn't, and also how to know which of the companies are your target market, because it's not every company that would spur you to the path, to your learning path, or to your path that you really want to grow in. Some people find I don't know, they find it resonates with that company, but not me. Some people might find it comfortable just staying there and cruising and not growing, but not me, right? So to me, it was not my ideal company to work with. And so I had to resign. But ever since then, how many have I counted now? So let's just call it the 7th company that I've worked with now. Is one
Some of us
ID.
now shall. Oh my god.
So I'm currently working with One ID Global Technologies, and I want to give a shout out. Let me give a small shout out to my team because they are really amazing. I've been with them now for like a month plus, and I'm so pumped that to be the ones that have designed the mobile app, and we'll be launching soon. And so, like, it's quite exciting. It's a work environment that is flexible for me because virtually everybody in that company also have jobs. So like they do work through the day, and then we come and do one IT together later. You get, like, it's really cool. So yeah, that's how my work experience as a product designer has been. 80% of it has been through referrals.
Nice. I'll start recording now.
All right. Okay, so just to make a quick summary. So the total of people or companies I've worked with, about 7. So I've worked with Jordan Solutions. That was the first company I worked with, Jordan Solutions. Then I've worked with Construct Technologies Limited. Construct Technologies, they are into creating digital solutions for construction and real estate. So they are owners of LiveVent. I redesigned LiveVent.com's web application. Then I've worked with Green and Nile. There's a company in the UK. I've also worked with Tech 803, a company in the UK. I've also worked with Rules and Co. So Rules and Co was it was a company I worked with that gave me a light kind of an exposure to there was a need for people to just transition into the design and tech space, and they don't know how or where to get started from, because that was what my boss was really passionate about. I was really working on a tool or a platform that would help people new to technology that you don't have any tech background at all, you don't have any design background at all, and you really want to like switch careers, how you can find transferable skills and all of those things. So it was an amazing experience for me, because it also helped me be better and find my strongest wife for what I was doing. So that was Rose and Co. In the UK as well. Mentioned 5, Abby. Then
Yeah.
I've worked with Rip Factory. That's
Yeah.
6. Then the 7th company, oh, Dragnet Solutions, and then number 8. Oh, sorry, you miscounted. So the 8 companies on one ID, Global Technologies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The crown of all
That's
the working
cool.
Asha goes to you. You know, you are the
This is in the space of less than 2 years, by the way.
wow. That's a very good thing. I would ask you a question about that. So that's I'll ask you a question about why you moved so much and how that has affected your learning process, but not now. So now my question still
Okay.
stands. How can you guys define what exactly is a working experience? Like if someone says you've been a designer for a while, and how much experience do you have working? Now, can you boldly say, okay, can you count freelancing as part of that experience, or is it mainly just official job working experience? How can you define what is what?
So yes, how do you define a work experience? So I think it all starts with understanding what it is that you want to build as a career, what kind of career journey you want to have. Like so if you're saying that you want to become in the next 3 years, you want to become a product designer that is sound in helping companies build user retention and or helping companies create usable products, or that you are an expert brand designer in helping businesses have conversion rates, having businesses have conversions from their design or storytelling. It now, if you are able to define that for yourself, like your goal, what's your career journey, then it helps to narrow down what kind of or how you're going to define your work experience. The reason why I'm being so selective with my words is because our work experience differs from one to another. My work experience, the value of the work experience or the value I would say amounts to my work experience differs from Vectorchi's own, right? Or differs from, say, someone that is their focus is in Web3, or their focus in something more specific, right? So it all starts with you defining what kind of career you're looking to pursue as a person, what kind of journey are you looking to um, experience, on your career path. So for me, whether it's freelancing, whether it's full-time, whether it's contract, that I was able to learn and grow on, and that were directly proportional to my learning path. For example, now I can't count my product management role in Rip Factory as a work experience directly, because if you check my portfolio, you will not even see it there. You probably might see it in my CV because I was also a product designer on one of their apps, right? But you might not see it on my portfolio because there's a way I wanted to project me being a product designer. Though eventually, maybe after I've built some foundation or some level of expertise as a product designer, I might now create a branch as to, okay, I have background experience, or this is how I'm able to blend in my knowledge of product management in my roles as product designer on specific projects. So it's really still dependent, right, on what it is, what foresight do you have about your career. If someone does not have a foresight about their career, it is anything that goes, right? It's just any job that comes that they'll pick. It's any work experience that they see that they pick. Even it also goes for volunteering work. You can't just volunteer for just anybody, right? You want to be able to volunteer for on a project that aligns, that had values to your portfolio, or that aligns with whatever career path you're setting for yourself. So that's how I can define it.
But I think I would just emphasize one thing that's quite important, and that's specificity in what you want to do. It's very important, and I understand that especially when you're starting out, you want to try as much things because you're still finding your way around this design journey. So you want to enter in the core Web3, you jump on. Then you say 3D, you jump on. When you see this one, you jump on it. But when you have a direct goal, as Ms. Vic said, it simplifies it for you. And it might seem counterintuitive, but you scale faster when you are focused on one particular thing. If it's finance, go for finance. And it helps because they would employ people that have a fintech company will employ someone that has more experience working in the fintech space, regardless of the 5,000 years you have working in another health or something. So they prefer someone even with 1 year of fintech knowledge. So it's important that specificity in it. That's what I'm just going to say.
I think working experience and job experience is very, very specific to the person because we all have our own individual experiences. And if we try and give it one definitive form of what exactly working experience is, it can then make people feel like they've not done enough in their own career and start like, just affects that self-esteem that we all have as designers. Because personally, I've had a volunteering experience that became an opportunity for me to work, and every other thing has been freelancing. So if I say I've only had one job, it then makes me feel like, wow, so 2 years, 23 years, and just one job. I feel in a certain way, I feel, is that good? But then again, the experience of how much I've grown from just that job opportunity plus other freelancing, it then makes me like, it makes sense that, okay, it's not just one job. It's just you getting paid a stable salary for once. It's not like the other expenses don't count. That way it makes more sense. So now my next question, right? Now, how like your experience for your first week, starting a job for your first week? Just give me like briefs of how that experience is like. What's it like? What kind of challenges do you face? And all of that. VectorChi, I want you to go first on this one.
I don't know if that question is been for me because first week in career-wise particularly was chilling. That's the first the first week it's basically chilling. Not particularly chilling, but you get to understand where you are. And I appreciate that it's not really something you encounter in many of these companies that gives you a week to understand. They teach you what the company values. They should even show you where the kitchen is because it's important that like the onboarding process of career is a turnover. Like I was literally wowed basically. So the first week was basically chilling, knowing your team, every team um lead, like every department came up to like present to us every morning, telling us this is how this thing works, including dev side, the coding languages, the dev side, I mean the design side, brand, the brand rules, generally everything the CEO came on, they said telling us they're happy, like happy to have us here. So it's my 1 week was basically chilling particularly. But generally speaking, what companies should shoot for, I think this is on the side of companies now, is giving the space for your new intakes to understand where they are, especially like it's quite important. If you want them to build a solid foundation on where they are just coming in, you need to set the foundation right and let them know, not that okay, check your Notion board, you have it. It gives us the fact that okay, we want you to rush back, but it was as if they were building us up for something, setting us right, so that from there on it just goes right from there. That's my 1 week, personally, 1 week experience.
Nice.
All right.
Victoria, what's yours? Is that the opposite?
You guys may laugh when I say this. Like I was already kind of conversant with the product, but not the company. It was a lot of difference. So, but once I got fully onboarded to the company, my first day was, I first thought it was like normal stand-up. So I was even like upset. Why are you calling me for stand-up, right? Why are you even calling me for stand-up? I don't know anything. You just put me and said, oh, that's having stand-up by 9:30. So I just showed up. And when I showed up, I just started laughing. My boss was on the bed with a singlet. Some people were just waking up. And everybody had to turn on their camera. And it was a culture thing that when there's a new person that joins them, they have to like turn on the camera because they all work remotely from different parts of the world, mostly from different parts of Nigeria too. So whether you're on the toilet seat, whether you're on the bed, they had to turn on their camera and then to like introduce themselves, tell the new people about their role, what they do, and how you working with them, how it also aligns with the company's roadmap. Then the CEO, then after that stand-up, the CEO then had a personal call with me where he brought me up to speed with, okay, this is where they were, this is where they are now, this is where they are going. So I had that call with the CEO, the CTO, and then the product manager. And then they helped me to understand what the structure is like, who it should be my closest point of call if I need anything. So my first 1 week was a lot about understanding the company's culture and also understanding their roadmap, what they are building and where they are headed, especially because I joined them at the point where they were wrapping up Q3. So there was a lot of retrospect going on, a lot of work appraisal going on at the time. So then the following week, I had to quickly jump on the task that was already assigned to me on Jira. So that was just it. But the fact that having to, and I thought that was just, initially I thought maybe they were just like cruising, right? But then for the past 1 month, that energy, that tone has been the same. Some days have been worse in the sense that you could be on the call. I think that my first day, I could find it. I couldn't tell who was the CEO. I was like hilarious. My first week was until someone had to say, today you are subbing your CEO. I was like, who is the CEO, please? Like, and that turns out that, oh, the CEO is the guy lying down on the bed wearing singlets, having this computer. So it was quite hilarious. That's how my first week was.
That's a very interesting experience. I swear to God, that experience is nice. To see that everybody's chilling and everybody's having fun, enjoying the work.
Yeah.
So like connecting with your team, right? What's your best way you've had a connection with your team? Because I know it's important to have that one-to-one, small talks. Like as much as people say, small talks help grow a certain kind of feeling. So like what's your go-to way for connecting with your team? That method that you use to create a bond for yourself with part of your teammates, your team members?
For me, it's always like chipping in small personal stuff, like small personal info, like just packs the other persons to like be like, oh my God, me too. You get. So
Yeah.
that's what works for me. That's what works for me.
For introverted people like we, I think it takes quite some time. I'm just glad that people of Carwise are like very, very born. You cannot be alone. Somebody will come and disturb you if it's a PM, if it's CX. In fact, at first week I did CX work. I had to speak with customers, and you just have to interact at some
Wow.
point. Another one is like going out. Sometimes we do impromptu outings. We just say, okay, well, everybody are going to this place Friday, engineering or with PMs, all of us just step out. And you get to know people outside even the work space, and you get to like recharge again. So it's that sort of bonding, even within and outside the office space is very, very important, particularly for me too.
You guys having wonderful experience. For me, my whole team, we are scattered everywhere in this whole earth, So we've not had that experience of going out one-to-one to reach out to talk, but we do have conversations about animes, musicians on our Slack channel. That's that for me. It's also interesting. Small talks.
That's true. I think we do that sometimes trends that happen and all we just
Yeah,
catch group random particularly. Yeah.
that one is interesting. So now, growth. Now, growth itself has its own topic where I'll have a guest come talk about growth. But now, let's say growth. You just got your first job. How should you measure your growth level from that first job? And how would you know if you are growing after that job? Because sometimes you can be working at a company doing exactly the same thing for 3-4 months. But because you are changing colors and moving miles in Figma, you would not notice. So how do you guys measure your growth in your opportunities, all your jobs that you've had, or your job right now? Like, how do you measure that, okay, I'm actually growing and I'm not growing and I'm repeating the same thing? How do you measure that?
I would prefer to use career-wise because I think it's where I've experienced like a large amount of growth within a very, very compact period of time. Has like made me mature basically in like design itself. Career-wise is built in such a way that you cannot just move mouses. It's still very tiny. So there is a lot of room for you to be creative. You cannot just do the robotic type of design. And I think I sort of struggled with it from the very beginning, where I knew, okay, design is strict, like way forward, there's this mono way. But design in career-wise has quite changed in the sense that as long as there are rules to follow, make it fun still. So this has like made me like limitless. I can just come in and do anything, and my design is like, oh, nice, nice. This makes sense. And this. So it goes way beyond doing what you are used to, and you start to feel this growth when you start doing more, particularly like you start trying to add more value to the thing. If you are just doing basically, if you are not being pushed better than how you were, then I don't think you should be worried. If you are too comfortable, exactly. If you are too comfortable, and
Mhm.
you should be in a sort of environment that you don't do just the bare minimum. First of all, you need to push in to like do more, and if that's what um, companies about. Sorry, I'm hyping them very well. But that's what everybody needs to do more than, and you get to tell. And it's quite surprising that everybody is committed. It's like maybe they have shares or they are the owners, but everybody is very. You cannot just allow the little twins fly by. They are particular about the very, very tiny details. So these sort of things like gear you to do more than what they are used to, first of all, gears you to actually learn before you even take on any project you start. And yeah, it pushes you. In fact, they have even started initiating me into dev work. I've started doing some of the codes because doing the bare minimum actually is not enough. And this is the type of environment that like fosters growth, basically.
I kind of resonate with Vectorchi's experience. Then I want to add this for those of us that are not in a company, for those of us that are not in a company like Carrywise, because Carrywise is a very structured work environment, right? How would you know that you're growing in a company with like a small team of company, for example, like you're in a company and the team is really small, probably you're the only designer, so it's hard to tell, there's no any other designer aside you, and then maybe it's just only the developers you're relating with. So how do you know you're growing? Like Vectorchi says, don't sit at the bare minimum. Don't sit with the bare minimum, right? And for me, by growth at the company I'm currently working with was kind of all encompassing because it helped me to now find a landing plane for my product management interest and my UI UX skills. Because then I had the opportunity to bridge the gap between the developer, the product manager, and the designer. So when they notice that, and that's one thing about the company I work, once they notice you're good at something, they'll put you on the spotlight immediately. So, but not in a bad way, though, but they put you on the spotlight in a good way with support. Because I know that companies that once they know you know something, that's when they'll bring all the alpha and omega on your head, right? And let you drown.
And tell you to find the
But
answer.
in this case, they actually get me involved in the development, get me involved in the design aspect. For although I'm not the only designer at where I work, but I'm kind of this go-to designer because I've learned so much from the devs, such that I'm able to reflect that in my design decisions. Like this was one of the first time, and I was scared. I was super scared when they challenged me to this. I've never designed for developers before, right? We are used to designing for users. We're used to designing for like normal individuals
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
probably not mine. But now being challenged to design for developers, number one, like Vectorchi said, seeing that you're not doing the bare minimum, right? Seeing that you also take the initiative to say, oh, putting in, even if they say, oh yeah, good idea, but we're not going this direction, but you are actually not just doing your job and going, but you are like uh taking up the challenge. So for me, it was about the challenge. It was the challenge that made me see that, oh, I've become more, I've given myself more into paying attention to details that I probably might not consider before. And then seeing that design is beyond just, oh, you're designing for the company's users, but also like even you as a designer, you're also a user, just like the day I had to design console for developers, and it was an interesting experience. So yeah, that's how I could measure my growth.
I believe you start growing in a company where you start thinking about the actual solution you guys are providing, not just ticking tickets on your tax. Not like
Yeah,
I've done
moving
this and
to
then move on.
cards on Jira. Yes.
Exactly. Like when you can be eating food and then you like start realizing, okay, how would users send money? What's the best way that they can send money? Then you start thinking, oh, this is a possible solution. This is a problem. Then you can actually know, okay, you subconsciously are embedded in that problem and trying to find the solution. You can see that your rate of like growth would increase itself. For me, I found myself at Nkowoku doing exactly the same thing where I'll be having random discussions and I would start thinking of, wait, is this a possible way that people use this product? Is this a possible way that people translate Igbo, and how best are we solving it? I start asking these questions, asking myself, doing research. And I think it's very important that finding their way into their first job, who has gotten their first job, it's very important that you really understand the product, not just from your salary, because people understand product from their salary, not that one. You understand the product from the point of thinking towards the solution, thinking around the solution. If somebody asks you a question, you should be capable of providing an answer, not just I don't know. And I don't know, to me, it's not an answer. It should not be something we should say all the time. You should probably provide a certain solution. So that's for me, it's growth when you start noticing yourself solving those problems that your company is already solving. Now, how do you challenge the fear of messing up and the fear of not performing well? So it happens all the time, and I'm guessing you guys have felt that way also.
I am probably a huge victim of this, basically, where you understand the pressure. You probably have been looking for a job for like maybe months, maybe a year, and then you probably get your big break, and then you get in, and you are so pressured to start meeting these company values. You are so pressured to start giving off these things, and then you start stressing and like, okay, this is not good. How do I do this? I'm not going to lie. I wrestled with this, especially coming into career wise, when I understand the standard you're coming into meet, and then even if you might feel or people tell you that, okay, yeah, I think this guy is quite decent, but within yourself, you still need to work and all. First thing I learned, first thing, which is so important. Like this is what I wanted to even come and preach on this call. The first word is chill.
As
That's
in,
it. That's the first thing I'm just going to tell you. Chill. I my It was my design leader actually told me, because he's very open, and I had to come out to him and tell him that. I asked him questions like, am I giving off the value you guys expect? What was your expectations for this role? How am I meeting up to this standard? I was like, bro, calm down. Like, you are delivering the standard. Where is this coming from? And he tried to investigate. So the first thing is chill. Chill. No, they are not expecting you to immediately start from this point and you're palm and you are hitting this target immediately. They don't expect that from you. No company, a reasonable company would expect that from you. So once you calm down, in fact, calming down helps you articulate your design process properly. Because once you overthink it, you start making random decisions, thinking that this is what they want, and you start getting, sorry, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And then the more this doesn't work you get, lowers more of those extremes that you already have, the existing extreme that you have. So calming down, first of all, understanding that first, these people hired me because they went through the due process and they know that, okay, I am the person fit for this role. First of all, should give you that encouragement that, okay, yes, this is where I'm meant to be. One, imposter syndrome, you need I usually call it a good dose of imposter syndrome to keep you on your toes. It's important, like a good tiny dose is important to like keep you on your toes. So you do your due diligence. I think that's important. Due diligence, one. And yeah, essentially don't get pressured. Chill, ask questions. That's another thing. Ask questions. It's not a crime to ask what you like. Don't just imagine or think that you should know everything in the company. You're just coming. In fact, my agent said they give you, once you come in, they give you 3 months to reach your best. That space, that amount, 3 months for you to
Wow.
start. So they know first month, second month, is from third month, you now start saying, okay, this is this person speak, and they start knowing, okay, from here, how do we now grow you? So they give you that 3 months for you to settle in properly. Calming down is quite important. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. And especially I think for people that are probably like me, that I don't like to give, I was talking about, I don't like to come in. I don't think it's enough to come in and do just what they ask you to do. They have to see
Exactly.
exactly what else you are bringing to the team. Is it just, okay, we just have somebody, you are just bringing more manpower to, but they want to see more side. Or if I was to employ someone, I want someone to bring in what I'm bringing, and then also another facet of probably how I'm not looking or what I'm not seeing at all. So again, at that aspect, don't also stress yourself about that. It takes time for you to understand these things. You need to understand the company values. You need to know where they are exactly, where you are taking them to, and how you fit in there. And it takes time. So calm down.
That's one thing. That's the advice me myself I'll take. Like Victoria, this is one question. This is for you now. Now, when would you know when to leave a company? You've had experience with so many companies. So how do you know when to leave, when to pack your load and jackpot?
Let me compare it with this question. Uh, how do you know when you have overstayed your welcome at a place?
Exactly. Yeah. That's very good.
Yeah, you get, because for example, you're with a person and you notice the atmosphere change towards you, or you change towards the atmosphere, either ways, but there's a change and it's not good, right? Or that you find yourself in a place where you are struggling so much, and even at the point where you're struggling, there is no way out for you. Like you're not getting, just like with Vectorchi now, where he was struggling with, his passion to deliver on the job, and then his leader is telling him chill. If you're in an environment like that where you are literally struggling and you can't get that help, you can't get that support, right? And you feel like you're drowning. That's actually, I can describe it. You feel like you're literally drowning, or that you're waking up. I don't want to use the waking up in the morning to start work, because it's something that happens to everybody. Even though you love your job, you still wake up and you're like, oh, I have to begin. But that's not valid. But literally, to put it in the very simple terms, look for someone in the team that you know you can talk with, and talk with that person, just so you are clear that it's just not just your emotions that is, doing you shaky. So you want to be clear that you get. So find someone in that team that is rational enough to have that conversation with you and let you see that, okay, maybe not, right? And even regardless of the outcome of the conversation, still give yourself time and watch how things, the turn of events is for you in the next 3 months. For example, for me, when I started feeling like I've overstayed my welcome at a company, I give myself another 3 months to see if it's just me being um, indifferent towards the work itself. I just need to adjust my perspective to things in the work environment, or it's just pretty much what it is. So that's just a summary of how you know.
Nice. 3 months is 8 Sundays. No, 3 months is 11 Sundays for people who don't know. I calculate my months in Sundays. That way, salary sounds very
Oh my
near.
God.
So, so yeah, the same question about you moving between different companies. How helpful has that been? Is that something you advise somebody to do? And why do you think you've done yours? And is it going to affect you? Just give me a summary of that talk.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, wait. Okay, me, but summary basically, don't do it. Well, it's going to it actually affects one CV. It affected my CV, or actually, well, it affected my CV because recruiters are looking for someone that have like a staying power. Like your CV or your cumulative experience should express your staying power. People want to see that you can stay in a place for at least 6 months to 1 year, and they feel like shouldn't be afraid that you would up off on them when they employ you. So for me, I was in a situation where I had all the access to opportunities that were short-term rules, short contract rules that lasted 3 months, 6 months, and then my first full-time role, I didn't stay there for more than 8 months. But I won't advise anyone to go that route, yeah, because in the long run, it's going to affect how you grow. It's going to affect how you learn. You feel like you're still in so many places. But then, if you find yourself in this situation, I will just advise that you make the most of it, right? Make the most of it in the sense that you ensure that it draws you closer to that moment where you're able to say that you found a place where you can stay and grow and build for the next 1 year, for the next 2 years before opting out again. Yeah, it's great to have an exit plan when you are in a toxic environment, but it's also important to build your staying power in a place. There is no perfect work environment, so you don't want to keep opting out and on every at the slightest toxic appearance. So
Yeah,
that's what I would advise that you to do.
nice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah.
So, Vectorchi, we've come to, as I said before, we have come to the point where we share grace for the second time. So, Vectorchi, you tell us what is the full meaning of JPEG? Yeah. So let me just give disclaimer. We've done this video already and I did not press record. So he already knows the answer. Anything he's saying now is fake life. Say the answer.
I mean, you pretend not to know the answer.
Okay.
The
Oh my
answer.
God. I just know it. Oh my God. I love this. God is wonderful. You know, you mentioned it. Yeah. It was actually wonderful. But I think, yeah, it's joints portable experts group for
Good.
the
You see fed up. You see fed up.
It's group. It's not group.
It's photographic
What did you
expert,
say?
not joint portable.
Oh, joint.
Oh,
I'm mixing
photographic.
this thing with PNG. Oh my God. I'm
Yes.
mixing this
Yeah,
thing with
mix.
PNG.
Victoria is just
Oh,
enjoying. She's flexing. It's joint photographic expert group. Yeah.
okay, photography. Thank God they changed. We are not using JPEGs again. That's crazy. No,
Yeah.
I'm usually
So
anti JPEGs. So
okay. So now
yeah.
still same old. Because of the power invested in me and the goodwill that I have as a good human being, I will still decide to give you your shirts when I come to Lagos. So you either get a 24 pixel shirt or you get this one. So it's free. Yeah. I'll still give
Thank
it to
you,
you.
thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to the next episode. I will be talking to a very, very nice human being. She is popular on Twitter as Design Mistress, and she will be talking about a topic that is about growth. Really interesting. So you guys will sit back, chill, and let's enjoy. Thank you guys for coming. This is the end. Don't forget to subscribe so you get to know when I release other videos. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I had fun.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Bye.
did too. Sha.